In the vast, untamed oceans of the Pacific, where the horizon blurs the line between sea and sky, a legend was born, a demigod whose very name sent shivers down the spines of gods and mortals alike. His name was Maui, and his deeds would shape the fate of islands yet to be born. On a stormy night, as the waves crashed against jagged cliffs and the wind howled through the palms, a child was born to the goddess Hina. But this was no ordinary child. Maui was different, his destiny written in the stars. Yet his mother, fearing what the future held, wrapped her newborn son in her long, flowing hair and cast him into the merciless sea. The waves, cold and unyielding, swallowed the tiny bundle as the storm raged on. But Maui was not destined to die. The ocean, in its infinite wisdom, cradled the child, carrying him safely to shore. He was discovered by the gods, who marveled at his survival. Maui grew quickly, his strength and cunning unmatched. And when he returned to his mother, her heart, once filled with fear, swelled with pride and awe. The boy who should have perished had defied fate itself. But this was only the beginning. In those early days, the sun was a tyrant, blazing across the sky with reckless abandon. The days were fleeting, the nights long and cold. Hina, now filled with love for her son, lamented to Maui that she could barely dry her clothes before the sun disappeared beyond the horizon. The people, too, suffered. There was no time to fish, no time to gather food, no time to live. Maui, his eyes dark with determination, knew he had to act. He sought the counsel of his blind grandmother, a woman who lived in the shadow of Mount Halikala, the House of the Sun. Her home was a place of mystery, where the very air seemed to hum with ancient power. She told Maui of the sun's hunger, of the bananas it devoured every day, and she gave him a plan. Maui's hands moved with purpose as he wove 16 ropes, strong and unbreakable, from his sister's hair. With these he would confront the sun, that arrogant fireball that had tormented his people for so long. Before dawn, Maui ascended the steep slopes of Mount Halikala. The air was thick with anticipation as he hid in the shadows, waiting. The first rays of the sun crept over the horizon, and Maui's heart pounded in his chest. He gripped the ropes tightly, his muscles tense. As each fiery ray reached the summit, Maui leapt from his hiding place, his movements swift and precise. One by one, he lassoed the sun's rays, the ropes pulling tight, the sun's heat searing the earth beneath his feet. The sun, caught off guard, struggled against its bonds, its light flickering as it fought to break free. But Maui was relentless. With each pull of the rope, the sun's strength waned until finally it was his prisoner. The world held its breath as Maui stood before the captured sun, its once blinding light now dimmed. The two faced each other, a demigod and a celestial being, locked in a battle of wills. Maui's voice rang out, commanding and unyielding. He demanded that the sun slow its journey across the sky, that it give the people time to live, time to breathe, time to thrive. The sun, now powerless, had no choice but to agree. And so, from that day forward, the sun moved at a gentler pace, allowing the days to stretch and linger. But Maui's work was not yet done. Though the sun's path was slowed, it still hung too low, forcing the people to stoop and crawl under its oppressive gaze. A young woman, brave and desperate, pleaded with Maui to lift the sky, to give the people the freedom to stand tall. With a mighty heave, Maui pushed against the sky, lifting it higher and higher until the sun sat where it belonged, high above the earth. The people rejoiced, their shadows long and free, as they stood upright for the first time. Maui's legend did not end with the taming of the sun. His heart yearned for more, for he knew that the world could be greater still. He descended into the dark, foreboding land of the dead, where shadows whispered of ancient secrets. There, he claimed a magical hook forged from the jawbone of his ancestor. This hook, known as Mane Ikalanai, held the power to create and destroy. With the hook in hand, Maui returned to the living world. He captured the sacred bird, the ale, and baited his hook with its life. The sea churned beneath his feet as he cast his line into the abyss, the hook sinking deep into the dark waters. Maui's sister, Hina of the sea, guided the hook to its target, the mouth of Old One Tooth, the ancient creature that held the land at the ocean's floor. Maui's voice, low and commanding, echoed across the water as he ordered his brothers to row. They strained against the oars, their muscles burning, their breath coming in ragged gasps. The ocean groaned as something massive began to rise from its depths. The sky darkened, the air thick with suspense as the land, vast and unyielding, emerged from the sea. The brothers rowed harder, their hearts pounding with fear and excitement. But one brother, unable to resist, turned to look. In that instant, the land shattered, breaking into pieces that scattered across the ocean. The islands of Polynesia were born, each a fragment of the great land that might have been. In the land of the Maori, Maui's tale took on a different form. Here he used the jawbone hook once more, but this time he baited it with his own blood. He cast the hook into the ocean, and with a mighty pull, he did not catch a creature, but the very porch of a house at the ocean's bottom. The water churned and frothed as Maui pulled with all his strength. From the depths, he hauled up the North Island of New Zealand, which the Maori call Tika a Maui, the fish of Maui. The land rose wet and gleaming, a testament to Maui's incredible power and unyielding will. Maui's legend is one of triumph and tragedy, of heroism and trickery. He was a demigod who defied the gods, who shaped the earth and sky, who tamed the sun and pulled islands from the sea. His name is whispered in the winds that blow across the Pacific, in the crashing of the waves against the shores, in the very heartbeat of the islands themselves. Maui, the trickster, the hero, the demigod, lives on in the stories of the people, in the land they walk upon, in the sky above their heads. His legacy is eternal, a beacon of strength, cunning, and the indomitable spirit of the Polynesian people.